Ryan and Jordan's paths first crossed in the most unexpected way, standing in line for college registration. Ryan, with his blonde hair and blue eyes, noticed Jordan, a tall, muscular guy with dark skin and intense green eyes, cutting in line. They exchanged sharp words, Ryan accusing him of being inconsiderate while Jordan brushed him off, calling him uptight. The tension was immediate, and both walked away from registration feeling relieved to be rid of each other, never expecting they'd cross paths again. After registration, Ryan explored the campus, taking in the energy of new beginnings. He couldn't shake the thought of his confrontation with Jordan. Despite the brief encounter, something about Jordan lingered in his mind. Little did he know, Jordan was feeling the same, slightly irritated but oddly curious. Their first impressions weren't great, but something about the tension felt unfinished, like a spark waiting to ignite. That evening, Ryan entered his assigned dorm room, excited to meet his roommate. To his shock, there stood Jordan, unpacking his things. "You've got to be kidding me," Ryan muttered under his breath. Jordan looked up, equally surprised and clearly unamused. "Looks like we're stuck together," Jordan replied, trying to mask his own frustration. Neither knew whether to laugh or complain, but one thing was certain, they were in for an interesting year. The first few days were tense, with both trying to establish boundaries. Ryan was neat, always organizing his side of the room, while Jordan had a more relaxed, almost chaotic style. Their clashes over cleanliness and habits became a daily routine, each holding firm in their ways. Yet, with every argument, they learned something new about each other, discovering traits that hinted at a connection deeper than they realized. One night, unable to sleep, they ended up in a long conversation about life, goals, and fears. It was unexpected and uncomfortable at first, but somehow they found comfort in sharing. They discovered similarities in their dreams, despite their differences. It was the first time they let their guards down, and while neither said it, they felt a strange, growing respect for one another. By the end of their first week as roommates, they'd formed an unspoken truce. They didn't necessarily like each other, but a small part of each looked forward to the other's presence. What had begun as annoyance started to feel like the beginnings of a friendship. They didn't know it yet, but this was just the start of something that would change both their lives. As the weeks went by, Ryan and Jordan found a rhythm in their routine. Although their personalities clashed, they began to understand each other's quirks. Ryan noticed that Jordan loved playing sports, spending hours at the gym, while Jordan learned that Ryan was passionate about academics and enjoyed quiet evenings reading. Slowly, their differences started feeling less like obstacles and more like intriguing mysteries waiting to be explored. They began sharing casual conversations about classes, hobbies, and ambitions. Jordan teased Ryan about his meticulous notes, calling him Professor Ryan, while Ryan playfully mocked Jordan's obsession with fitness. Despite their jabs, there was a warmth in their banter that neither wanted to admit. It felt natural, as though they'd known each other longer than just a few weeks. One weekend, Jordan convinced Ryan to join him at a college party. At first, Ryan resisted, uncomfortable with the idea of loud music and crowds. But Jordan insisted, saying it was all part of the college experience. Reluctantly, Ryan agreed, and soon they were caught up in the wild energy of the party, dancing and laughing in a way he never imagined. For the first time, Ryan let loose, with Jordan encouraging him every step of the way. As the night wore on, They found themselves sitting on the steps outside, catching their breath. The conversation drifted from light jokes to deeper topics, with Jordan opening up about his family and Ryan sharing his hopes for the future. Sitting there in the dark, with laughter and music in the background, they felt a connection neither could explain. They were more than just roommates. They were starting to feel like friends. The following days were filled with playful memories of the party, and they found themselves drawn closer. Their friendship deepened, although neither was willing to admit the intensity of the bond forming between them. Jordan looked forward to their late-night talks, while Ryan found himself glancing up each time Jordan entered the room, feeling a mix of comfort and excitement. Their time together started feeling like a safe space where they could be themselves without judgment. The tension that once existed had turned into something lighter, almost electric. They were no longer just coexisting. They were building a connection, one that neither had anticipated but both felt was growing stronger with each passing day. It wasn't long before everyone around them started noticing their friendship. Ryan's friends teased him about always being with the athletic roommate, while Jordan's friends joked about his new bookish buddy. They laughed it off, but the truth was, their friendship had become one of the most important parts of their college experience. They leaned on each other, supported each other, and shared moments that made college life unforgettable. One evening, they attended another party together, a casual gathering this time. The night was filled with laughter and light-hearted fun until Jordan unexpectedly pulled away to talk with someone else. Ryan watched him, feeling an odd sense of jealousy rise within him, something he hadn't felt before. He tried to shake it off, convincing himself that it was ridiculous, but the feeling lingered. The night ended with Ryan and Jordan in a tense silence. Back in their dorm, Ryan couldn't hold it in any longer. "You just left me there," he said, frustration coloring his tone. Jordan looked surprised, then defensive. "I didn't know you needed me to babysit you," he replied, his voice equally tense. The argument escalated, both saying things they didn't entirely mean, but the underlying tension was clear. After that night, things felt different. They were both quieter, avoiding each other in small ways, each afraid to confront what was really happening. But during one late-night conversation, they finally let down their walls, admitting their fears, insecurities, and the confusion about what they felt. It was a vulnerable, honest moment that brought them even closer. They realized they had feelings for each other, feelings they hadn't planned for but couldn't deny. Both were hesitant, unsure if they should cross that line, but the connection was undeniable. They decided to take it slow, trying to understand what this new chapter in their relationship meant. For the first time, they acknowledged the possibility of something more than friendship. From that moment on, their bond deepened in ways they hadn't imagined. They began to navigate their feelings carefully, still holding on to their friendship, but exploring the intensity of the emotions between them. It was the beginning of something new, something that felt both exciting and terrifying. Nervous but eager, they agreed to go on their first date. Jordan planned a casual day at the park, followed by a late lunch at a cozy cafe. They laughed, shared stories, and realized just how natural it felt to be together outside their usual college routine. Jordan's warm smile and Ryan's soft laughter filled the afternoon, and by the end of it, they were inseparable. Their first date was perfect, but they kept things private, uncertain how their friends would react. In public, they acted as roommates and friends, but in private, They grew closer, spending quiet moments in their dorm room and sharing small gestures that revealed their growing affection. It was a balance that felt right, and both were happy keeping it that way for now. But hiding their relationship proved to be harder than they expected. Their friends noticed the subtle changes, the lingering glances, the private smiles, and soon the rumors started. They handled it as best they could, ignoring the whispers and focusing on each other. In a way, the secrecy made their connection feel more intense, a shared adventure only they understood. Their bond grew stronger, and soon they couldn't deny the depth of their feelings. They supported each other through tough classes, late-night study sessions, and everything else college life threw their way. They became each other's anchor, finding comfort in knowing they had someone who truly understood them. The moments they shared were beautiful, but tinged with uncertainty. Both knew they were building something meaningful, but neither wanted to rush it. Instead, they focused on the present, cherishing each day together and enjoying the simplicity of young love. By the end of the year, they had become each other's everything. Ryan and Jordan were no longer just roommates or even friends. They were partners, deeply in love and learning to embrace the possibilities of their future together. Despite their happiness, college life was unpredictable, and their relationship was soon tested by unexpected challenges. During another party, Jordan found himself talking with someone else a bit too closely, and Ryan, watching from afar, felt a wave of jealousy he couldn't ignore. They argued about it later, emotions running high as they each tried to explain their side. The argument left a mark on their relationship, making them both question how much they could handle. But through open, honest conversations, they realized that trust was something they'd have to build over time. Both were new to these feelings, and mistakes were bound to happen. They promised to communicate more openly, to talk about insecurities instead of letting them fester. It wasn't easy, but they both knew their relationship was worth the effort. Slowly, they began to rebuild the trust that had been shaken, realizing that love was about forgiveness and understanding. Over time, they grew closer than before, stronger for having weathered the storm. The experience taught them the importance of patience and communication. They knew there would be more challenges ahead, but they also knew they were ready to face them together. They continued their college journey side by side, becoming each other's biggest supporters. The rough patch had shown them that their bond could survive even the toughest of moments, and they were grateful for that lesson. From then on, they approached their relationship with a renewed sense of commitment. They weren't perfect, but they were in this together, ready to take on whatever came next. As graduation approached, Ryan and Jordan began to think about what life would look like after college. They'd both come a long way, and they couldn't imagine a future without each other. They talked about their dreams and ambitions, and for the first time, they seriously discussed what their future together could be. There were fears, of course, uncertainties about careers and where they'd end up living. But in the end, they knew they wanted to make it work, no matter the obstacles. They made a pact to stay together, to support each other's dreams, and to build a life they could both be proud of. Their love had grown into something stable, built on trust and understanding. They looked back on their journey, from the awkward first meetings to the deep connection they now shared, and they felt grateful for every step. It had all been worth it. As they prepared to graduate, they were filled with excitement and a little sadness. College had been the foundation of their relationship, but they were ready for the next chapter. They knew it wouldn't be easy, but they were determined to face the future hand in hand. On the night before graduation, they sat together under the stars, talking about everything and nothing. It was a quiet, perfect moment, one they knew they'd remember forever. They promised to cherish each other no matter where life took them. When they walked across the stage to receive their diplomas, they felt a sense of accomplishment, not only for graduating, but for the love they'd built. They were ready to start the next chapter, whatever it might bring. After graduation, Ryan and Jordan found themselves in different cities, each pursuing their careers. The distance was challenging, but they stayed in touch, visiting each other whenever possible and keeping their connection strong. They missed the days of being together on campus, but the separation only made their bond grow stronger. They made plans to eventually settle down together, and after a few years, they reunited, moving into a cozy apartment in the city. The challenges they'd faced only solidified their commitment, and they were more in love than ever. They built a life together, blending their routines and supporting each other's goals. They laughed about the old days, remembering the awkward moments and the rocky beginning of their relationship. It felt good to look back and see how far they'd come. Eventually, they decided they were ready to start a family. They began the adoption process, and after months of waiting, they welcomed two beautiful children into their lives. Becoming parents was a dream come true, and they embraced the new adventure with open hearts. Their love had grown beyond what they'd ever imagined. They had created a home filled with love, laughter, and the warmth of family. They were grateful for each other, for the journey they'd shared, and for the future they were building. Years later, as they sat on the porch, watching their children play, Ryan and Jordan knew they had found something truly special. Their journey had been challenging, but it was worth every moment. Their life together continued to flourish. Ryan and Jordan found joy in the everyday moments, from family dinners to late-night talks. Their children grew up in a home filled with love, with two fathers who had taught them the importance of kindness, respect, and resilience. They cherished the life they had built, filled with laughter, memories, and a deep sense of peace. Their love was the foundation of their family, and they knew they were fortunate to have found each other. Looking back, they often laughed about their first encounter at college, realizing how far they had come. They'd transformed from strangers to roommates, from friends to lovers, and now they were lifelong partners. Their journey was a testament to the power of love and the strength that comes from being open, honest, and willing to grow together. They had built a beautiful life, one that neither could have imagined when they first met. With each passing year, their bond grew deeper, rooted in a lifetime of shared experiences. They had built a family, a home, and a future they were proud of. They knew they had something rare, something that only grew stronger with time. As they held each other close, they knew that no matter what the future held, they would always have each other. Their love was a legacy, one that would continue in the hearts of their children and in the life they had built together. Ryan and Jordan spent their days surrounded by the love they had created, watching their children grow and savoring the life they had built together. They had turned a chance encounter into a lifetime of love, laughter, and shared dreams. Their journey had been full of ups and downs, but they had faced every challenge together. Their love was unbreakable, strengthened by years of growth, forgiveness, and understanding. They were each other's home, and their family was their greatest achievement. As the years passed, they continued to cherish every moment, grateful for the love that had brought them together. Their story was a reminder that true love is built on patience, commitment, and the courage to face life together. They knew they were lucky to have found each other, to have built a life filled with purpose and joy. They had created a legacy of love, one that would live on through their family and the memories they had made. Their love was a quiet, beautiful force, one that had transformed their lives in ways they could never have imagined. Together, they had created a life that was full, rich, and deeply meaningful. Ryan and Jordan held hands, knowing they had found something rare, something that would last forever. Their love story was their greatest gift, and they were forever grateful.